Alrighty, y'all, welcome to Ellis Mowers. We're going to work on this Craftsman rear tine tiller today. It's a 17-inch heavy-duty 5-horsepower horizontal Briggs, made in the United States. This is probably a 90s model. This is the last item that I have not gotten fixed in the lot that I bought 9 push mowers and a Husqvarna riding mower, and then I bought this from. So I got the 9 push mowers running out the door, the Husqvarna rider out the door, and now we're going to work on this. Hopefully it's a quick fix. When I originally got it, it did not have a pull rope cover on it. I have since put one on it, but I will redo the pull rope on it because that pull rope is old. I have the diaphragm off, and I'm going to put the diaphragm on it. I always get these mixed up. I had originally filmed this, and I realized I had it wrong, so hopefully I had it right this time. Gas tank was clean. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to show it to y'all. But it's clean in there. So now I'm going to work on the diaphragm. I've got the old diaphragm here, and what it helps is to show the marks where the spring and all that was whenever I took it off. As you can see, it was pretty rotted, so to speak, and so I originally had it the other way because I thought it would be pulsing out, but it's pulsing in whenever you have a diaphragm. So I took this out. I saw where the ring is supposed to go on this thing, so we're going to put it in the right way this time. I'm not going to show you. I had a 10-minute clip filmed showing you the wrong way to put this thing in. It's 4 screws and a flathead screwdriver. It's not too bad. Spring goes in. Your little locking washer goes in right there. You're going to put the diaphragm on. This diaphragm is a little bit different than the old one, but it'll still function just fine. It's got a little extra tab up there. So the tricky part, I guess it wouldn't be tricky if I tipped the engine over, but I really don't want to have to do that. I might tilt it over just a little bit for us. You put your little flat washer thing right there up against the diaphragm so that it doesn't mess that up. I'm going to put a couple of screws in here, and I'm going to do my best to try and just shove this thing on there without it falling down, which is never an easy thing to do, as evidenced by what I just did off camera here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab a jack stand. And stand this thing on the side. I don't need much leverage, I just need some. That's don't want it to tip all the way over. There we go. Trial and error, folks, trial and error. At this point, I can do this. Let me get closer, one. As close as I can get you. I can't really get you very close. I'm going to go ahead and put the spring and this piece in, since I got it on a tilt. That way it'll stay, and now I can put the diaphragm in and the screws And by the way, this thing would run on starter fluid. It wouldn't run after that because at the very least the diaphragm's bad. Hopefully the carburetor's still good and not gummed up. But if you have a bad diaphragm, it's not going to pull fuel in. So I'll get these started on the ends here. Get them tight on the corners. These are small screws, very easily lost, so be careful when you put these things in. I lost one inside the tiller and I had to find it earlier. Birds are chirping outside today. It's kind of nice. Don't want to tighten too hard because you don't want to strip this. That would be bad if you stripped it. Okay. I have gas in it. Have gas in it. The new diaphragm is in with the way it's supposed to be, because what happens is, and I mixed it up first because I thought the spring was supposed to go on the back side until I looked at this diaphragm and it had the markings of where the spring goes on the front side closest to the engine. And the reason for that is because the diaphragm sucks in because it's an intake, not an exhaust. Silly me, silly me. So let's see for kicks if this thing will crank over. Okay, here we go. No way. Okay. I didn't expect it to start on the second pull like that, but you see what it's doing is it's leaking. It's pulled the gas out and it's leaking gas down through there. I don't know if that's because of the gasket or if that's because something I did or if it's actually leaking at the tank. I'm not sure. Let me crank it up one more time and see what happens. I just tighten those bolts up a little bit more. And obviously I'm not going to run it like that for very long. Yeah, it's leaking out somewhere. Pretty bad, actually. Wow. I hope I don't have a crack at the top of the tank at the carburetor. I shouldn't, though, because it's pulling up gas there, so I wonder if I just didn't get the diaphragm right in there. Of course, now I have to be careful because I got the exhaust hot. It runs. Things start on a second pull, which is kind of amazing. I'm going to take this intake tube off to get it out of the way. Okay. That's one of the mounting bolts for the carburetor. Tell you what I'm going to do, we know it runs, I'm going to take this diaphragm off. If I see anything weird, I'll let you know. I'm going to play with the diaphragm a little bit, see if I can get it right. Because I think it's leaking out the diaphragm down the tank. Because if it was leaking at the tank, it wouldn't be leaking at the top like it is. That's better. This thing's been running a while. Let's see if reverse works. Yep, holy moly. Oh yeah, it works. It's got the tiniest fuel leak right there. It has the tiniest fuel leak around the diaphragm. And it might be actually associated with the gas tank. I don't know if I want to even bother with trying to locate it and repair it. Just because I know these gas tanks are known for messing up and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do, I might tighten that nut up, or that bolt up just a little bit. Or that screw. It's not a bolt, nut, or nut, silly. It's a screw. This thing is not going to be perfect by any means. However, if it's a running tiller, then I got a good one, you know? If I can keep the leak from happening, and that'd be a good goal. I'll tell you what, I'm going to sit y'all down. And I'm not going to till with it, obviously. I'm going to see if everything works here. Gotta check it started, unfortunately. Alright, so it runs. It tills. Like I said, I got a tiny fuel leak right around the diaphragm here. It's so tiny. But that might be what I get for buying cheap diaphragms. I don't know. I don't want to tighten them up too much more because I don't want the, let's see. I don't want it to strip them, you know? And it's running fine the way that it is. Like I said, it's running fine the way that it is, so this thing hasn't been running a while, so I'm sure that's why it was spitting fire and stuff out of the exhaust. You could hear that when I put a load on it, it smoothed out. I think I went off camera when I did that. So, you know, I mean, it is what it is. This tiller is probably every bit of 25 years old, so I'm not expecting it to be perfect. I do want to make it functional and reliable, and as y'all saw earlier, the thing started on the second pull. Can't really make it any more reliable than that, I would say. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put the air filter and such back on, and I'm going to check the oil in it. The oil looked good. This thing doesn't look like it had a ton of run time. And I think I have to put one more bolt in the pull rope somewhere. I'll put a bolt right there in the pull rope, and I can check the oil right there. Here, we'll check the oil right now, actually. Sitting on a downslope. I mean, it's full. It's like, it's about to run out. It's so full, and it's clean. So that tells me that it's just kind of been sitting in a shed collecting dirt for a little while and taken care of, which is indicative of everything that I got in this lot. This was an amazing lot to get. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my air filter and stuff back on it, the air filter housing. I didn't show y'all how to put that stuff back on. So I'll tell you what, let me pull it back into the garage here, and we'll put everything back on together. We'll make sure it runs like it needs to. Okay, I brought you on the other side of the tiller here. All you gotta do, it's already got the gasket on it. Surely this is about the easiest. This is easier than many push mower engines, honestly. I put this little tube back on that I unscrewed. I'll show you where it was. I unscrewed that tube right there, which is part of the carburetor, and I was able to put this intake tube back on. These rubber things are so shot, it's not really going to matter. I think I might have one. Might have one that might work for this. I'll have to look around real quick. But for the breather, that's more of an environmental thing anyway. So all I gotta do is pop this back on. It's 4 5/16. It's 4 5/16 inch, say. I still can't believe that thing started on the second pull. Usually it takes about 7 or 8 for these things to start. It's pretty impressive. Or maybe I just had a bad batch of 5 horsepowers. I don't know. I think I see every problem under the sun, honestly. Sometimes it's like it's got fuel and it's got fire, but it won't run. Why? I'm going to do the 2 bolts surrounding the intake first. Doesn't really matter as much because this doesn't have a primer bulb on it. It's just one of the old manual chokes. I don't really work on a lot of these, but I mean, I don't mind them. Just not, I don't really work on a lot of horizontal shafts. Which is probably why I don't really have an opinion about them. I know the 5-horse Briggs are about the most solid engine you could ever put on anything. Maybe aside from a Vanguard or a flathead Intake, or not an Intake. Holy cow! I like a 12.5 horse flathead or 12 horse or whatever. Pretty much anything made before 1995, I guess. Of course, everything like that's 25 plus years old right now, so most of what I get, because I do riding mowers mostly, most of what I get's Intex, Briggs Intex, occasionally get an opposed twin, get some flatheads, and had a couple of Kohler Courages, a couple of V-twins, and a fair amount of Kohler Commands. I'd say Kohler Commands I see a lot of still. So again, I just put the air filter back on it. I've been texting my dad. I think he wants this thing. Yeah, he's gonna get it from me. Here's the thing. I don't mind, like I expect my dad takes care of me, and I do my best to take care of him whenever he needs help too. He just knows a lot more than I do. So he's going to get this thing for what I have in it, which is $35 plus the $5 for the diaphragm. Here's the thing. I've already made, goodness, probably $500 on the lot that I went and got in a matter of 2 weeks. I don't really disclose what I make a lot, but it's like, you know, you got to give a little sometimes, and I'm not really giving. But if I sold this, I don't even know what it would go for. Is this a $250 to $300 tiller? I mean, could it be? I don't know. Just let me know what y'all think. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give them a courtesy wash. I'm going to go up there and wash it off, and for y'all as well. Obviously, if I were to sell this, I would likely buy some tubes to make the tires look good, to make the appeal look good. And obviously, I would have to disclose that it has a very, very, very small leak around the diaphragm right there. This thing just needs some run time, I think, and it'll be good. But let me wash this, and I will give y'all a final look and start. I don't really want to test it out. I don't really have anywhere to test it out, but you can see that the tines and everything work on it. These rear tine tillers are something else, though. They will tear your yard to pieces if you needed to. So clean that leaf off and get my purple power and let it do its magic. And I'll wash this thing off. That way my dad has a nice clean tiller to use whenever he uses it. Catch y'all in a second. Check this thing out after a quick wash. Looks really nice, actually. Like I said, I don't know how old this thing is. I have the model number. Where was the model number? Right over here somewhere. It's a 917. Let's see. Y'all have to trust me because I can't get the camera down there. 031292S. This is a 92, so it's even older than I thought. I thought it was like a 95 or so. 92 model. Nice. And working on a 92 model, I usually work on stuff that doesn't have adjustable carburetors, i.e. those. Pretty much anything newer than about a 96, it seems, doesn't have an adjustable carburetor, and them dumb Nickies can't find an original Walboro anymore, or even a knockoff, which it kind of stinks. I forgot these things are adjustable. So I just adjusted the screw out there a little bit. Listen to this thing run now. This thing runs amazing. super small fuel leak, and that's it. How low can we go? That's the cutoff. I put some seafoam in it, so that's why it smokes this tab. Just to clean it out, you know. Now, this thing's done, sending it off to my dad. However, if I were to sell this thing, I would probably source some new tire tubes for these tires. Put some tubes in them, that way, you know, you have the whole decorative aspect about it. I don't think I'd have been able to fix the fuel leak any, and I also would clean up the tines some. As you can see, the tines are pretty caked in crud. But man, this thing turned out nice. And like I said, all I have is the work, basically the work of taking the carburetor, there we go, taking off the carburetor diaphragm, taking off the air filter box and the diaphragm, putting a new diaphragm in, which is all of not even $5, and putting it back on. So bought the tiller for $35, have a $5 diaphragm in it. If I were to sell it, I'd put probably $12 worth of tire tubes in it. And so I'd have had, let's just say $60 in it. Why not? Say I have $60 in it when you add the pull rope. I don't even know what these things sell for. I could do a quick research, but you don't see rear tine tillers for less than $200. So I'm gonna check the old marketplace and see what's online right now, and I'll just let y'all look at this for a second while I look at it. We'll finish this video here. Let's see, let's look at a tiller. Let's see. Well, let's say this much. It's going to give away my location, but I don't think it's going to show you anything. Here's a newer version of that tiller, $400. There's a Troy built, $800. These are rear tine tillers. There's a Husqvarna for $600. So, and there's another old one for $300. So I mean, if I were to sell this thing, if I were to sell that thing, I'd probably list it for $250. I mean, it'd be well worth that. It might even be worth $300, you know. But again, I've made plenty of money. My dad helps me out a lot. He deserves some good equipment, and I like to give him stuff that he wants because he's done a lot for me. So this is going to him for cost, which for me was $40. I might talk him into letting me have his old one, which runs great. It just, the problem is these gas tanks like to rot out and rust, and the gas tanks are an arm and a leg to buy. But if I can get it for nothing, put a gas tank on it, sell it off, I mean, I'd make a couple $100 off of it. So I might see what he wants to do with that. But this thing right here is stout. I'm happy with how it turned out. I'm always skeptical about doing horizontal Briggs and stuff like that, but this is a great purchase. That whole lot was awesome. So again, easy fix. I'll stop rambling. Just a diaphragm on this one. Really cool. But I appreciate y'all watching. I'll catch y'all in the next video. You can always find me right here on YouTube if you want to subscribe to the channel, or You can follow me at Ellis Mowers 09 on Instagram and Facebook. Somebody believing a Chevelle did a burnout at the end of the video right there. 70 Chevelle. Take it easy, y'all. Actually, that's Mick's saying. My saying is, I'll see y'all next time.